Rochelle. Okay, we're going to get started this morning. I'm going to share my screen. So you'll remember that we started a new series. This is our 8th week, and we're going to wrap up today all about getting organized. So I think I've said this once or twice that this particular series came a lot out of my own need to feel like I had to get organization around certain parts of my professional life. And as I had more and more conversations, saw that other people were in the same boat. So what we've really tried to do with these 8 weeks is compartmentalize different pieces of our real estate business and say, what are some sort of quick hits, easy ways, low cost or even no cost ways where we can maybe pull in technology, pull in automation to help make our lives a little bit easier, feel like we have things a little bit more together, if you will. So we're going to wrap up today at the conclusion of our training, of our hour. We're going to go back and recap, and I just want to highlight a couple of the key points that I think we really touched on in each of these areas, and also too in those key points, what feedback I've gotten, since we first started this, back in March, feedback that I'm getting from the changes that agents have made with regard to, say, how they manage their time, for example. So we'll recap that at the end. Today is kind of a part 2 of last week's conversation on social media. So when we got into last week and this week, I've been upfront to tell you that I'm very vulnerable in this area. It's not necessarily my favorite thing of all the things I do. I love to talk with people. I love to help people. I love to organize and create processes that help people. But social media is just not my favorite thing. And I think a lot of that is just learning it and getting into a rhythm with it. So a lot of what we talked about last week was that, there are easy ways that you can get the ball rolling. I think a lot of us that were there agreed that Facebook and Instagram are 2 great places to start of all the technology platforms that you can consider, partly because they talk to each other. So if you can get into a rhythm, get yourself organized with your social media posting on one platform, then you can simply copy and pull in the other platform and get like a 2-for-1, if you will, right? So we talked about that last week about, what the value is in coming up with a consistent plan for social media and how it can really be a great way to reinforce your overall branding. Okay, how you brand yourself as a real estate agent and let the world know what services you offer. So here's our questions. I always like to start like getting you in the mindset. These are the things that you might want to think about. So coming out of the last few weeks where we've been really zoned in on marketing, and then last week with social media, think about, what is your social media footprint? And if maybe you didn't have one prior to last week or you felt like it needed work, what have you thought about in the last 7 days about your social media footprint and where you want it to go? Today, what I want you to really think about is, what am I doing with video in the middle of all of that? Okay. Along those lines, with both your photo posts, your graphic posts, and even just your verbiage posts, all of your content together, how effective do you feel that you are to communicate to other people, like I said before, who you are, the services that you offer, and what your skills or expertise are in real estate? Do you think that there's a solid connection between your content and defining who you are and building your brand? Or is there a disconnect? Something for you to ponder. And then most important, I think, is recognizing that, especially the video piece, because I'm not the only one. I've had too many conversations to know that the video piece is intimidating and maybe a little bit, talk about unknown waters for a whole lot of people, right? But at the same time, if you took a step back and reflected on who you're attracted to in social media, would you agree that those resources that you're attracted to, and not necessarily in real estate, in anything, but that those resources that you are attracted to are doing a very effective job of helping you to feel like you've come to know, like, and trust those that you follow? And I reference this a lot because so much of my content, I love food. I love cooking. I love watching. I love hacks. I've been cooking for my family for 20 years. I love to come up with new ideas and have someone else hand them to me. And I find that social media is a great way to do that. But then I found, if I really reflected on it, that there are certain types of people within that genre that appeal to me even more. And that's because I feel like I've come to know, like, and trust those individuals, either because of the expertise that I feel they deliver, their humor I appreciate, and then there's a grandma that I just absolutely love. And if I needed to be adopted by anybody, I would want to be adopted by Babs. Okay, so that's where you need to think about, okay, me as a consumer, who do I come to know, like, and trust? So how can I flip the switch and think about the content that I'm delivering? It's going to do the same thing. Video will do it so much more effectively and so much faster than just a photo or a blurb might do. Okay, so think about that. Just reminding you, these are kind of the tools that we've been talking about, but we're going to continue today just really focusing on Facebook and Instagram. Last week, when we talked about, getting posting, going for at least one post a day. If you're not consistent in that space, let's do it. Let's be organized and intentional about it. We talked about starting in Facebook and just linking in your Instagram account. Today, we're going to kind of take the reverse approach. I'm going to show you maybe how you might dabble in a reel, creating a video in Instagram, and then how you can turn around and share that on Facebook if you wanted to. Okay. So for those of you who really are sort of newbies at this whole thing, one thing that I think it's important to understand, because you hear the words, but you don't know always what they mean in the realm of social media. What are we talking about when you hear the words stories and reels? Okay, this is going to be, you'll hear it mostly on Instagram, but it does translate a little bit to Facebook, also to TikTok. Okay, so stories are going to be, it could be in video form, could be in photo form, but what you're talking about are reaching the people who already follow you, who are already friends with you, getting to the people that already know you and in your world. Okay, reels are designed to be public. They are videos that are looking to broaden through circulation, broaden your reach to bring in new followers. Okay, so think of stories as more of engagement and think of reels as discoverability, getting yourself out there. When we sort of transition into our next series of education, you'll learn more from some of the experts that we're bringing in about sort of how the algorithms work and what it really means, like what needs to be in your content, how to make your content toothsome to get the greatest stretch on discoverability. But for now, just understand that the role that video plays is to put yourself out there and try to build a following, find new followers, and again, establish rapport so that people feel like they come to know you over time. Okay. So let's remember, why are we doing this again? Why are we feeling this pain? Well, you go to the dentist to make sure that you don't have to get teeth pulled down the road. You're going to do social media because number one, it's in demand. It's a huge platform for people of all ages. And we see with younger generations that more and more young people, millennials, actually prefer technology as form of communication over personal interaction. But at the same time, older generations have come more and more to embrace technology, where maybe earlier on, 10 years ago, they were resistant to it. So there's clearly, it's in demand. And we can see with the numbers of new users that continually come into the Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok space that, we can't ignore it anymore. The other thing is there's so much that you can do here that's free. So don't forget, when you're trying to build a business plan and have a marketing strategy, obviously you're going to have activities in there that are going to cost you money, whether you're farming, whether you are, the expenses of managing open houses, whether you are holding community events, sponsoring athletic teams, whatever it may be. There are things that are going to come with a cost. This is something that you can put a little time and effort into and essentially get marketing for free. Okay, so that's a good reminder, I think, an important reminder. of why we would do this. So here's the thing. What we're going to do today is I want to give you just an idea. We talked last week, just trying to get you to the point where you could commit to a start, getting yourself organized. We talked about one post a day for 7 days and working to try to do that ahead of time so that you can schedule. If you can sit down one day a week and plan out your whole next 7 days, then it gives you that level of efficiency and consistency that you really need to make social media effective. Here, what we're talking about with video content, I would argue, the experts, if you will, say 1 to 2 stories a day. Remember, stories are staying within your followers, within your friends and family. I would kind of argue that if you are going with your 1 post a day, like we talked about last week, then maybe stories don't have to come into play right now. As long as you're doing either a story or a post every day, then I think that first thing is covered. So that takes us to the second part, and that's Reels. Remember, that's where we're trying to bring new people in, get exposed, and get ourselves, our personalities out there in the world. 4 to 7 is the goal, but listen, let's reel that in, right? I know I'm talking with people who are trying to find organization around these components of your business. So 4 to 7 might be your goal down the road. For today, let's just get you started with a willingness to say, I'm going to try and do 1 to 2 a week. Okay. Along those lines, again, we're not looking to really dig in deep into the meaning of video and what makes a good video versus not. But here's the things that you do want to focus on as you just get started and sort of test the waters. First thing, you want to make sure that you have a hook. So you want to have something that's going to draw attention. Okay. Second thing that you want to have is payoff. Payoff is typically going to be engagement. And oftentimes you can measure that with likes, with comments, with shares, with follows, or even if somebody messages you based on your post. Okay. But don't be discouraged because, again, think back to your own consumption from, the client side of your social media digestion. How many things do you enjoy that maybe you don't react to? Or, let's go back to the grandma that I love, to Babs. Every time Babs shows up in my feed, I stop and see what her post is about. That doesn't mean that I always comment or like it necessarily, because sometimes I'm just sort of half in, half out. It's, maybe before bed and I'm just sort of decompressing kind of thing. But at the same time, I do stop for her content. And maybe that doesn't register anywhere because I haven't actually posted any kind of like or comment back. But again, it's still gaining traction from her standpoint. Things are still happening that are good and strong and positive for Babs and her brand. Okay. So like I said, don't be discouraged. Don't get too hung up on the numbers game. And ideas. What's effective with social media video, with Reels content? Well, educational, bringing value on a how-to basis is always great. And we did talk about that a little bit last week, that if you're struggling for ideas for content, maybe you chunk it up so that every day of the week is something different. Maybe one day is inspirational. Maybe one day is a how-to. For example, how to work, working with a home inspector, have a home inspector give you a how-to, how to change your batteries, how to change your air filter, why it's important to, check your dryer vents. There's so many things that you can do with how-tos around real estate. And it doesn't have to just be buying or selling real estate. It could be home maintenance as well. Lists or countdowns are very common, very popular in the Instagram space. And then before and afters, which could be really interesting too. So if you have clients that are working through projects, if you are trying to maybe share or advertise your ability to stage properties, before and after, before an open house, after an open house. I had an agent on our team who had a great before and after picture of herself on an open house day, especially in this market where before she was very poised, her hair was very, Like she was all nicely dressed. And then the after, she looked like she had just stuck her finger in a socket. But it was an incredibly engaging post because she looked all frazzled and exhausted. And it was just very effective. So before and after can mean a lot of different things. Okay. So those are some things that you want to sort of keep in mind as you get started. Now let's remember, this is all about organization. Okay. So what are we trying to make sure we stay organized with when it comes to social media? Remember a couple of these things I enforced last week. It's worth saying again. Social media is something that you're going to have to build into your business. Whether it's going to be elbow grease, then you need to build in the time. Or if it's something that you don't want to learn or don't want to invest in, but you recognize the value, the marketing value, and the traction you can gain there, then maybe it's time to think about bringing in a paid resource to assist you, okay, with your social media consistency. You do have the ability to schedule your posts in advance, which is really important from an organization standpoint. That's the best way for you to do this in a way that's efficient and makes use of your time. And I mentioned on here at the bottom too, setting a time limit. If you aren't intentional about your social media posts, you will quickly find yourself distracted and end up losing certainly minutes, but more likely hours to absorbing and receiving content from other people instead of focusing on, creating and posting your own content. So make sure that you're intentional about this effort. If you're looking for content, a reminder to make sure that you have a folder in your email set up just for content ideas, so that if you receive something and know that you're not going to process it right now, just throw it in your folder later for inspiration. As you go through your day, even today, as you go through, the next several hours, think of all the things that you're going to do in your business as opportunities to record video. One of the things that I'm going to actually do, it's not business because I'm just getting my toe wet. I will tell you, I posted my first reel last night, and I did not realize this until I did it, but I'm the first person in my household, even with 4 sons, 3 of them teenagers, I'm the first one in my household to create and post a reel. So I got a couple people laugh. And then thankfully, the oldest one and the youngest one gave me a pat on the back and gave me the courage to go ahead and post it and get started and try it out. So I'm going to play around a little bit. I know I have an opportunity tomorrow night. I'm going to be sitting on a baseball field and I want to try a new feature where you can combine multiple snippets of video together in a reel. And so I'm going to be sitting on a ball field around the time that the sun sets, looking over the Ben Franklin Bridge, and I'm just going to give it a try. It's the idea. What I'm trying to drive home here is that I'm now looking at that activity as an opportunity to capture video. And so that's what you'll want to think about too. As you go through your day, try to capture little bits of video, whether it's 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or even longer on your phone. You can always go back later. You don't have to create the reel in that moment, but that content can be built into a reel or multiple reels down the road. That's what's really cool, is that you could take content from, say, a home inspection. And if you let's say you go through a 2-hour home inspection, you might come up with 10 quick 30-second tips from the home inspector. You now have 10 opportunities to create reels that maybe you share 1 a week over the next 10 weeks. You've just come up with some great content. Okay. So again, that requires a certain amount of organization and thoughtfulness in the way that you start your day, the way that you plan your week, and how you're going to get these posts pushed out to the world. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do is I did a lot of research to be able to bring content to you today to get you started and to motivate you to get started. What I think is really would be probably most beneficial, because it's kind of challenging, right? To be able to show you how on your phone to create a reel. I actually have what I think is probably the best 4.5 minute video that I could find on how to create a reel. So if you can, I'm going to go ahead and I want to share this link in the chat. And I also want to play the video. So I'll play the video first. If you don't hear it when it plays, I've sort of tested it out. So hopefully this works like it's supposed to. If you hear the audio, if you can just give me a thumbs up and let me know. But again, it's 4 minutes, 5 minutes at the most, and it's going to introduce you to how you might open Instagram on your phone, find the place where you can get started on Reels and actually build one out yourself. Okay, so here it comes.
In this video, we're giving you a beginner-friendly tutorial on how to film, edit, and post an Instagram reel. I know how overwhelming and even intimidating it can be to create and edit reels, especially when you're just getting started. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through the Reels interface and show you step by step how to make a reel. So let's get right into it. First, open up your Instagram app. There's 3 ways to start creating a reel. You can tap the plus button at the top right of the home feed, swipe right as if you're creating a story, and find Reels at the bottom, or tap the camera in the top right of the Reels home feed. We're going to press into it here, so once you enter into the Reels editor, you'll see a bunch of options on the right side. Let's go through them all. The first one, the music symbol, is where you can tap to add audio. You can search through Instagram's music library and look through your saved audio. We really recommend saving audio. It's such a massive time saver. So when you're scrolling Reels throughout the day, which I know you are, tap on the audio and bookmark it so you can easily find it and use it later. Next, the 30 with a circle around it indicates your video length. By tapping on it, you can select if you'd like to record a 15, 30, or 60-second reel. It's typically safest to set it a bit longer. You don't have to use the whole time, but it'll save you from getting cut off. The 1x button refers to the speed you'd like to record your reel in. Below that is the layout icon if you'd like to film on a split screen. And last, the timer feature. Here you can set a countdown to give yourself time to get in place before recording and select the length of the clips you'd like to record. This is especially helpful for lip syncing audio so you don't have to memorize everything all at once. Now let's get to recording. You can record a reel by tapping the circle at the bottom of the screen and holding it down. Or if you set a timer, the camera will count down and start recording once it gets to 0. If you record outside the app, you can also upload your video by tapping on the film roll icon on the bottom left and hit next. For this example, I'm going to use a few clips I already recorded outside the app. What's great about the Reels editor is that you can upload multiple clips, rearrange and trim them all within the app. Once the video is good to go, it's time to add text and set the on-screen duration. You can see how the Reels interface for adding text is exactly like Instagram stories, so there's no learning curve here. To add text, simply tap on the double A at the top of the screen and type whatever you want to say. And then, if you want to have the text pop up at a certain part of the clip, tap the highlight text preview at the bottom of the screen. Here you can drag the slider to time the appearance of your text. Since these are clips I recorded outside the app, I haven't added in any music yet, so I can do that now by tapping the music icon at the top. You'll see there's also an option to add a voiceover where I can record myself and adjust the volume of the audio as well. You can also add stickers to your reels by tapping the happy face icon and selecting GIFs. Pick your GIF, place it on the screen, and then set the duration just like you did for the text right before. If you're talking in your video, you should definitely add captions. On Reels, there's an automatic caption sticker. We highly recommend using this to make your content more inclusive. When you're happy with how your reel looks, hit next to publish. Here, you can edit your cover to a certain part of your video or upload a custom cover. Add your caption and hashtags, additional details like tagging people, naming your audio if it's an original sound, and adding a location if relevant. We recommend making sure this toggle that says also share to my feed is on, so you can maximize your reach to both your current audience and to new followers. And now you can finally hit share, or save to a draft if you want to post it later. That's it, you're ready to share your own reel. Let us know if this was helpful and if there are any other tutorials you'd like us to cover next. See you later.
Okay, so I hope you all learned everything that you needed to know in the last 4 minutes from that video. But here's my point is that I want to share this also in the chat, this link, because what I did, and like I said, I did take on a lot of content in order to make sure that we were prepared for today. and if somebody can just click on that, maybe make sure that the link worked, because it looks like it came over funky in the chat. But what I like about this video format is, number one, it's only 4 minutes long. So I don't feel like I have to invest in a 30-minute video. I took that 4-minute video and I sat with my laptop and my phone, and I stopped and started the video as I worked my way through my first reel. Okay. I tried opening, first opening Instagram, getting to the point where I could create a reel, how to start the video. I worked on that. Then I spent a little bit of time, like he suggested, choosing audio. And I stopped the video and then moved on. So it's a process. And the first couple of times, I can tell you, I'm going to be referring back to that video. And I also learned as I was going through this, because I asked the teenagers that are sitting next to me, and the teenagers didn't know because they'd never done reels, which I hadn't realized. So I was able to put together a reel in about an hour's time and leveraging that 4-minute video. So what I want to tell you, and I'm going to share it with you because, I don't have my account, not in my account. So let's find me. But the thing is, it's possible and it can be done. And I got started. So let's take a look. Let's find it. I got to play the video. I'm going to move everybody's head. So I have to, okay, let's do this. So.
Oh, I want to see that one with the baby.
Oh, the baby. Oh. This is because I was testing it out and was still getting comfortable with it. These are all just photos. This is certainly my first reel, but I don't do a whole lot with video. So, and I have to find the audio because I had.
Isn't it at the bottom? If you click the bottom.
We see like a microphone. Little
Yeah.
You do? Because I have all these Zoom. There it is. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we go.
Get ready for the future. Making moves past yesterday. Get ready for the future. Get ready for the future.
All right, so now, like my voice said, okay, Mom, we heard it.
Yesterday. Get ready for the future.
So the idea here is that I took about an hour, having never done it before, and said, I'm gonna give this a try and I'm gonna get started. The video was actually a very simple, the audio rather, very simple process. I knew that I wanted to kind of go with something professional. I wanted something that was sort of forward thinking and, are you thinking about your future? Chose music to go along with that. If you're coming into the day with a certain mood or a certain vibe or trying to go for a certain message, it's so easy to find the audios, right? So give it a try. There are also a lot of fun things that you can play with in terms of like screen effects. So I would say the first thing that you need to do if you are not doing reels is find 60, maybe 90 minutes in your day in the next week or so. And maybe that's, Friday night with a slice of pizza and a glass of wine, or maybe that's Sunday morning when the house is quiet, or, certain day of the week where you can really devote the time to just do some experimentation. Sarah, I know you are great with stories. Tell me, do you do a lot with reels?
So what I do, I go on TikTok and I create my video and I just pick any trendy music, and it has nothing to do with my video, but because I know a lot of people gonna hit that music and they want to see what other videos belong to this song, I just go ahead and I pick it, and then I take and I upload it into my Facebook story, my Instagram story, and then when I put it in my feed, it asks me if I want to post it on Reel, and I do that too. So I try to collect views from like everywhere. I actually posted yesterday a video about our office in South River.
That's great.
It's gorgeous. And oh my God, I got so many positive feedback about it. And the song is so funny. It has nothing to do with business or with the new office or anything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's a really good point. Something that I would say is probably like beyond the scope of, certainly of my knowledge, but of what we're just trying to do here of getting people started. But exactly what you're talking about is a really key component of creating a reel. Like if you're looking to get more traction, you'll hear from the experts that the song you choose or the hashtags you use can be really instrumental in broadening your reach for that exact reason, because people are looking for content associated with that music or that vibe. And so, yes, going for the trendy music will get you more traction and followers. So that's fantastic. So Sarah's a really good example. If you are not doing a whole lot on social media, find Sarah. I know you do a lot on TikTok, but you are also on Instagram and Facebook. Absolutely, right? Active in all three. So find her and follow her. And Sarah's a great person to give you the pat on the back too. the atta girl or the atta boy to give you the confidence to keep going. The other thing that I just want to mention, because we talk about in the video, the one thing that he does say is that you can always save a reel to your drafts and post it later. And that's absolutely true. But there is one additional thing that you can do when you have a business page, and that's schedule your posts for later. So I just want to make mention that that's a thing that you can do. Just like we talked about using the Meta Business Suite in Facebook last week to be able to schedule our posts days in advance. You can schedule reels, and you can go, if you go into your reel and you go down to advanced settings. So once you're ready to post, you'll get this menu here to post your reel. You can turn on to share it to Facebook, and then you want to go into advanced settings. When you go into advanced, this section right here, schedule your content, is where you'll be able to go in and actually schedule that post to pop into reels at a later date and time. Okay. So again, the idea is that I think you'll find greater success if you're carving out one or maybe two blocks of time in your week to devote to social media posting. If you try to incorporate this as a daily activity, I think more often than not, whatever your day takes on could end up causing you to derail a little bit and lose consistency. Okay, so find those 1 or 2 times a week where you can effectively manage this, and then dig into it and give it a try. Again, remind yourself this is free. These platforms are free. They're highly leveraged, and you're just trying to put yourself out there. It's okay to be vulnerable. But at the end of the day, people are going to come to appreciate and learn about you. And so lean into the things that you love, lean into your expertise, whether it's in real estate or something else, and let all that stuff work for you. Okay. So I hope that you will give it a try. It's time to incorporate this into your business. And there's a way to do it that it can benefit you and bring you what you need to gain some reach and grow your brand, grow your business. Okay. For free. Let me just check the chat. I see there's some comments there. All Sarah's accounts are public. That's a great question. So let's go back to sure. Account need to be public in order for the hashtags. Thank you, Lynette, that the link works. Yeah, so I think you do want to go the route of having public accounts if you want to be able to pull in followers to see your past content. And I think maybe that goes to the point of some people say, well, if I have a personal account, do I need a business account too? I think that that's a personal decision. It varies from person to person. But in my case, I definitely, from a team standpoint, and then from myself, my own personal, professional space, and then my true personal, things happening with the kids, what my, recipes that I'm sharing with family, like all those sort of things. I want to be able to keep all those things separate. So I think, but I do from a business standpoint, anything that you're posting that has to do with the professional service that you provide should be public, so that if people find you, they can go back and consume your past content. And again, feel like they're coming to know and like you, especially if you're doing that sort of how-to every week and they're like, wow, that was really interesting. There's this gentleman that popped up on my feed, and his sort of like his pattern, I don't know what else to call it. His pattern is that he's like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this same stupid thing for 40 years and you're telling me there was an easier way. And every week he comes up with these like mind-blowing, goofy hacks that I didn't know existed. I'm doing the same thing that he was doing. Like he was taking takeout from, the McDonald's, and he had 2 huge drinks and was trying to carry the drinks and all the bags. And he showed this hack of how you can place the drinks in a plastic bag and twist it. And then suddenly you could carry them without spilling them. It was the goofiest thing, but it was like, again, how many times have we tried to carry everything out of the McDonald's and everything went flying in the parking lot? So what did I do? I wanted to go and find him and go back and view some of his prior posts, because I'm like, wow, what other things has he uncovered that I don't know exist? So you want to be able to do the same thing. Is if you can pull someone in with some really cool content that you're sharing, maybe you pair up with a professional that aligns well with what you're doing, like a staging expert or a home interior or home maintenance, like a handy person, a handyman. Maybe you partner with a mortgage lender and are helping to bring valuable instructional, educational content to your combined followers, right? And leveraging one another's worlds. That is all stuff that you want to make sure is public, so it's reachable, it's findable, and consumable by the most people. Okay? So that would be my recommendation. That's what I'm saying. I know, Sarah. So Sarah, you don't post anything personal at all. Do you have a personal space anywhere, or you post all of your business? So see, it's a personal choice, right? Of how you want to manage your content and your social media, and everybody's going to be different. But I do think at the end of the day, if you're posting professional content, make sure it's consumable by the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'll post like about food, restaurants I go to. Me and my friends are out somewhere just having lunch, but I never put any pictures of my kids because everybody knows where I live, and I don't want them to know my kids' schools. I live in a very small town. It's not hard to find anyone in my town, so I don't put my kids' photos. I don't put where I'm going with my kids. Like I know some people, they check in for everything, and I feel like that's scary.
It's definitely also, there's more than one way to feel vulnerable in this space for sure, right? So I totally understand what you're saying. And I've told you how I am about social media. I tend to be more on the conservative or reserve side. And on the flip side of that, I've got a spouse who like people will come up to me like, oh, Deanna, I love your Christmas tree. I'd be like, oh, you know what my Christmas tree looks like? And they're like, yes, Chris posted it on Facebook. So there is that, every person is different. And even within your house too, when you have 2 people that approach it differently, there's a balance to be struck.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
And then I really like Chris's posts. I follow him, and there was one post that he put, and it really stuck with me. And that was like maybe 2 months ago. He said something about, people that call you for telemarketing. It was an older post. He said, stop being mad at them. Don't yell at them. Don't hang up on them. They're just trying to do their job. And that made me really, I've never yelled at anyone, but that made me think about it in a different way, and I really appreciated that so much. And, I've been telling this to everyone now, like every time we sit down and we talk and they say, oh, those people are so annoying. I'm like, no, don't be mad at them. They're just trying to earn a living.
It's an absolute, and that's a really great point. And to tie that all back to social media. So what are the things that you're sort of reinforcing there? Number one, that messaging stays with you. right? That it can have a lasting effect well beyond measuring likes or follows or responses. That's number one. And number two, there is great power in you taking that message and sharing it to your own feed because it gives you additional traction there as well. And that's one thing that I did just want to maybe touch base on for a minute, because we did spend time last week talking about getting going with your posts, right? So one of the things that you want to do, again, we're not looking to get caught up in the craziness of likes and follows and those numbers, but there is opportunity to go into and reflect back on what's happening with your posts to see what kind of traction that you're getting. So I just want to pull up this page real quick.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Okay, so it was maybe a month ago or over a month ago, we had a guest speaker on Leaders Edge Zoom, and it was the tattoo realtor.
Oh,
And
yes.
do you remember? And he's
Yep.
like the king with social media. He said it doesn't matter how many people hit the like button on your video, just keep posting, don't quit, keep going, because even if one person engage with you, it's okay, because you are looking for action, not likes. So he keeps posting, and he said some of his videos in the beginning only got like 3 likes, but he got a listing. So
Yep.
that's what he cares about, results and not
It's true.
the number of likes, so that kind of like changed my whole mindset, because I have like about maybe 9,000 followers, but then I get sad when I'm like, I'm only getting like 25 likes, but then I'm like, wait a minute, but people are contacting me for real estate services, or they're asking me questions, and I'm like, why not? This guy knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. And that's an incredible point, because we get sort of hung up on the idea that however many people love or like or comment is a reflection of our success in this space, or that we need that for some kind of validation. And you're exactly on point, Sarah, that you can't measure the intangible piece of people absorbing your content and coming to you later and asking you their question, thinking like, oh yeah, we want to sell our house. I've been following Sarah. I know I can ask her, right? Because I feel like I've come to know her over the course of time with her content. So absolutely. And that could be somebody who's never once liked or commented on your posts. But the idea is that to that exact point, the tattoo realtor's point, the purpose here is to bring you new clients, right? To ultimately turn this into a source of client feed and revenue for you and your business. But I just wanted to show you a couple of things. So last week I stuck to a 7-day challenge. So I made sure that I had 7 days of posts. And I think I even gave people a little bit of a break and said, have at least 6 posts in a week, right? So I did that. But what you'll want to do from time to time, is just gauge where your content is going. In terms of likes and follows from an effectiveness standpoint, that if you see certain things perform better than other things, then maybe you want to lean into those types of messages or do those a little bit more. So if you find, let's say that Mondays are your inspiration day, Wednesdays are your how-to day. I remember Rochelle mentioning that last week. And you're finding that your Wednesdays are getting a tremendous amount of engagement, then lean into that and, maybe add another day, another how-to. Maybe it's not home inspector how-to, but maybe you bring in another professional, right? That you can demonstrate that you're bringing in trusted professionals to share their expertise with your followers. Again, gauge it to kind of see what you can, where it is working. I just wanted to happen to show you that one of the posts that I did last week, got a couple of shares. I wanted to highlight a couple of mentors on our team. And so I'm starting, just getting committed to it. And like we said, this is not about how many likes or loves or follows that you're getting. But at the same time, I just wanted to show you that I had a couple that were hitting close to 100 people reached, most of the time in the 20s, 30s, 40s, right? But then I had a couple of shares of this particular post here. highlighting a couple of mentors on our team. The shares increased the reach exponentially. So recognize the value that you have with a partner that you work with by being the person who shares, and then encourage other people in your network to share your content as well onto their feeds, because that's going to, again, give you that much more traction with just one post. Okay. So those are the things that, again, we're just trying to scratch the surface and get started and organize our thoughts around social media, not trying to explain the nuts and bolts or in-depth logic on how social media works, how they best function. That's what we're going to leave to the experts when we go into our May training. But I hope that you'll take this as inspiration, that going forward, get your 7 posts a week, 1 post a day, and work to get at least 1 to 2 reels a day posted on your professional accounts. Okay. And
we should all follow each other's on here. It's more support.
I was just going to say, if you, after conclusion today, we go and find one another, or feel free to go and add your handles into the chat. Excuse me, because I think that that's going to be a whole other level of maybe accountability too, right? That we see to what's going on with one another and then support each other. Absolutely. So thank you for that, Sarah, very much.
Thank you.
All right. So if there aren't any questions or comments specifically on social media, I just want to take a couple of quick minutes here as we wrap up to just reflect on the last 8 weeks. Does anybody want to mention anything real quick about or have questions about social media? Okay, good. So let's just go ahead and recap what we've done in the last 8 weeks. Remember, again, worth reiterating that our whole purpose here has been to try and bring organization to all the chaos and to be more intentional about how we're managing our day-to-day. We started with time. What are the 2 biggest things I can encourage you to do when it comes to time to help improve your organization and efficiency? You should be working from a digital calendar. Get away from a physical planning book, get away from having like a blotter calendar at the office, plus a calendar book at home, plus the calendar on the fridge. Try to have everything in one place where you're managing your schedule, where you can pull it up on your phone, you can pull it up on your laptop, on your tablet, all at a moment's notice. And it's the same everywhere. That's huge. Also, time blocking, big difference maker in our business, because we can quickly allow the curveballs of the day to derail us from what we need to get done. Time blocking is a way to help you make sure that you don't underspend time on a task that needs your attention, and you don't overspend time. Like we said in social media, for example, it could be very easy to do that. And before you know it, 2 hours that were supposed to be devoted to something else got devoted to just scrolling through those reels. Okay. Excuse me. People. What were the biggest things that we talked about with people? Leveraging technology and bringing organization to your contacts. First of all, you need to have a CRM in place. You need a client database, super important. Recognize also that your cell phone is an incredibly valuable tool. You can update notes and tidbits and bits of information right in the contact section of your phone. Leverage that. Don't overlook it. And then finally, make sure that people know how to reach you. Are you accessible? It's not just about how you reach your people, but it's about how your people reach you. So challenge yourself and make sure that people know how to get a hold of you, whether it's through social media, whether it's in your email signature, whether it's through any of your maybe paper or print marketing. Make sure they know how to get you. Then when it comes to paper, what are we doing to be organized and leverage technology? Well, obviously there's e-signing, right? I think we're all at that point where we're electronically preparing and getting documents signed for our closings. But what are some other things? Are you organized with your email? Do you leave hundreds and hundreds of emails in your inbox, or do you organize them and compartmentalize them to make your life feel a little bit more organized? And again, are you using your cell phone as a tool? Are you using notes? Are you using the scan features? Are you leveraging, maybe there's an app And then are you backing up your data? Make sure that you always have a backup. If you use your phone for a lot in this case, make sure that you're backing your phone up to your cloud account. And if you're using, say, a laptop or a computer, it's worthwhile at least maybe say once a quarter to be backing up your data there too, to a hard drive. Okay, we talked about that. But again, getting rid of the paper. And the less paper you have in your day-to-day, the more portable your business can be. The easier it will be for you to literally work from anywhere. That you can go to a seminar and sit and work during breaks one day. You can go to the office the next day. You can be at a home inspection followed by appointments the day after that. And your business can travel with you because it's all accessible on your phone or laptop. Money. This was totally reinforced yesterday when we talked with Lisa from Messer & Messer, how important it is to have good accounting records. So pull in a trusted accounting platform. We talked about QuickBooks. QuickBooks comes with a cost, but we also talked about FreshBooks and Wave, which are two either less expensive or free options that you can consider. You need a platform, a technology platform to help you organize your accounting. Super important. And don't overlook the value of working with trusted professionals. Have a good accountant, have a good insurance agent, because they are going to help protect you and your interests in your business so that if you have a need to leverage personal insurance or have, an issue with an audit, you can turn to those professionals again to help reduce the chaos and the stress and know that you've got it covered. And then we turn to marketing in these last three areas. Part of what's really important when you organize your marketing efforts, you need to make sure you have a clear understanding of what your brand is. So if you haven't done that up until now and you don't really know how you would define yourself or what your brand looks like, you're not just a real estate agent, but everybody's got their own unique personality or niche or approach or skill set that all goes into you defining your brand. That's an important first step to getting organized, because then you're going to want to take that brand and make sure that it gets reinforced in all these other areas, enforced in your social media, in the way that you market yourself, in the way that you plan your open house. You'll want to lean into that brand. You have to have intention with your definition so that you can demonstrate consistency and people can connect the dots of who you are and what you stand for. Two of the things that I definitely want to make sure you're leaning into when it comes to marketing are the Marketing Center with EXP and also Canva. Besides the accounting platform, Canva is probably the one other place that I say absolutely, positively, spend some time there, learn it, and possibly even invest in it with a monthly subscription. Okay, it's going to help you and broaden your abilities, your functionality from a marketing standpoint, where a lot of us might have felt like we couldn't do certain things because we had systems limitations. Canva eliminates so much of that. Open houses. What are the two big things that we would take away from open houses? First, have a process. If you define your process one time on how to have an open house, what your checklist should look like in the days leading up to it, if you set the process, then it should work on autopilot each time you have a new open house. You should not scramble or feel disorganized or disjointed when an open house comes up on your calendar. Leverage core open house. Going back to the point of how am I managing time? How am I managing paper? Use core open house. When you have an open house, it's going to demonstrate not only that you are highly effective in the use of technology, but it's also going to save you the hassle of trying to go to the office or go to Staples and print things in color and make everything look nice. Just leverage technology, take the place of all of that. And then finally, with social media, we're talking again about platforms that are free. So very little here that we're not already involved in, but it's about intention. It's about getting scheduled and being consistent and setting goals that we can be committed to and that we can stay with. So if we can hit 7 posts a week, let's be consistent at it and let's hold ourselves accountable to it. If you can get to 1 or 2 reels a week and then maybe build up from there, let's absolutely, commit to it and remain consistent to it. Okay, so hopefully what we've done over these last 8 weeks is really given you some tangible, like ready to go. I can turn around and implement these thoughts into my business right away to help me bring more intention and organization to what I do. Okay. If you have any feedback on any of these components or any questions at any point in time, or if you need to be directed to how to get into some of these other platforms, please let me know. I'm happy to help you with that regard. But does anybody have any questions on any of these components, anything that we've talked about?
Deanna, how can you get to the replay of them?
So that's a really great question, Veronica. I have a, let me grab it real quick. We have a YouTube channel. And so we've been posting these in two places, both on the YouTube channel and also a Dropbox link. So let me go ahead and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to give you the Dropbox link because it'll take me a little bit of time to, I'm going to put the Dropbox link in the chat, and then I'll follow up with you, Veronica, and get you the YouTube link because I have to sign into a couple of places to get to that account.
Okay,
So
that's
we have
fine.
our Get Organized. Any other questions while I'm grabbing this?
Hi, Deanna.
Yeah.
More
Jenny.
so just a comment. I haven't posted a whole lot with real estate unless I have a listing. Unfortunately, I just haven't engaged as much. But I do have my creative business that I run. And just one comment for those of you that haven't posted reels, like I've posted quite a few reels to my creative business, and you do see a lot of reach, especially, I know, Sarah, you mentioned like using trending sounds. That is definitely something that is popular, using those hashtags, but also just being ready to comment. Like when people are like liking and comment, like you'll see a lot more reach if you engage them as well. So a lot of posts or reels that I've done, I've kind of, as long as you're engaging the people who are engaging you, it definitely pays back. And I've had like a lot of business. Most of my marketing has been just through posting. And honestly, like I haven't posted in a while because I've kind of been like hiding. Like I haven't wanted people to reach out to me because I've just been like super, a lot of things going on. But like I have so much content just like saved, and I know when I hit send on those out into the universe, I'm going to get people to reach out. So just being ready to engage the people that are engaging you is really important. And you guys will see business from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, that information, Jenny, because she's absolutely correct. Just putting yourself out there and not just set it and forget it, like going back and reviewing your posts and engaging with the people that are engaging you. It's a process and it all feeds off of one another. And hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about the secrets of social media over the coming weeks from people who are well-trained, well-versed in that space. Did you want to say something?
I just followed
Sarah?
you, Jenny.
Oh,
I just
great.
followed her.
That's awesome. And Jenny's got creative pop-up events. So did you put that in the chat, Jenny?
I did not. I will put
You
that
should
in.
go ahead and put it in the chat, because she's another great example of content and how content can really define and show the world what you do and the value that you offer. And that's another great way, not directly real estate related, but a very effective way in what Jenny has done with her social media. So awesome. So you have your marching orders, right? We've gone through all of these trainings with the purpose of making your life feel like it's more on track, feel like the world isn't managing you, that you're managing the world, right? So hopefully you've taken some of these nuggets away and are putting them into play in your business. If not, then I challenge you to figure out today where you're going to start. Which of these areas are you going to start? A lot of us are really zoning in on social media, and I've started my commitment there, and I'm going to go make sure I'm following all of you, and I hope you'll do the same. So keep it going, and I hope that you'll continue to join us on Wednesdays if you really do want to learn more about the digital world and sort of understanding how it works and how it can better work for you. Then I hope you'll tune in. We'll have our list of presenters for the month of May, hopefully all set and advertised by the start of next week. So thank you all again so much for your participation in our Get Organized series. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Ines?
Good, good. I've been trying to post at least once a day. I don't know if you have seen my post. I've been shooting for that. You said to do it. So I am mixing my personal with the real estate part, my other Facebook, just on Facebook, but it automatically sent it to Instagram. And I have seen people that haven't engaged in a while, and they're like liking it, and some of them, they ask me questions, and then I'll answer. So it is great.
Ines, it becomes a habit.
It becomes a habit. Yeah,
Yep,
because it's not innate. I never grew up with this technology stuff, and now I'm learning it and play with it, and all sorts of things I'm posting, a variety of subjects. Like the other day I posted that I had to get my car inspected, which is a normal thing. But some of my people, how long did it take you? And stuff like that.
Very relatable. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw my grain of salt.
I'm very proud, Ines, that you have taken some of these strategies and that you took the challenge seriously. Absolutely. And I've seen that you post video content, which I think is wonderful. So, what is that doing? Even for the people that aren't liking or commenting, people are seeing that your exposure, they're seeing that you're out in the community. Like Ines is not just a great mentor, role model, and agent for the team, with our team, but she does a tremendous amount of community work too. And she supports other small businesses in the community, and she shares all of that on her social media too. That's tremendous. Because again, people are feeling like they're really coming to know Ines and the type of person she is, her character, through those posts and through what she shares about her day-to-day experience. So awesome job, Ines.
Thank you.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Sometimes even like small things, like what are you having for breakfast, just throw it on the story, and people will connect with you, like, oh, that's delicious. Something simple, just to get your name to keep coming up.
Yeah, I think Chris went through a few days where he was sharing a different mug from our coffee.
Oh, yes, I loved it.
Every day for 3 or 4 days. We have a very eclectic set of mugs. But again, and the way that he approaches social media, this morning it might be about a mug from the cabinet, but this afternoon it could be a very important post about changes that are happening with mortgage rates, right? So, and
I feel like he really trained me to always look for him, because he always has something new every day, sometimes like you said, twice a day. So he kind of trained me to look for him, and then he started to come in my feed too, so I'm always looking at his stuff.
That's awesome. I'm gonna let him know that he's your inspiration. Oh, terrific. All right, great. So again, take some of these nuggets away, put them to use in your business. And if you, along those lines, have anything specific that you want to make sure that we cover in the experts that are coming to us in May, and even if we extend that series into June, give me that feedback. That's really tremendously valuable, because I'll remind you that, Sarah, you were the inspiration for our entire February series where we brought in investors. So that feedback and that wish list is really, really helpful. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for your participation. And now it's time to go get organized. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great
good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.